Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon to you all here. Happy Monday, May 5th, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And we've got a lot of things to talk about here in terms of what's about to happen here with this significant storm down in the plains. I need my people that are in Texas, eastern New Mexico, Oklahoma, southwestern portions of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi to please be listening up, especially for the areas in risk zones for today and tomorrow, as well as the significant flooding threat that's about to develop. We could be looking at some very potential catastrophic flooding down in Louisiana, Mississippi, and into East Texas with some of the forecasts that we're getting in this morning and through this afternoon here. So I need you guys to listen up. I need everybody to listen up in general in a consensus, but if you're in the area of Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, and Eastern New Mexico especially, you need to be very, very much in all ears listening here as we've got a lot to discuss for you guys. I do want to mention here as well, we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about tomorrow's severe weather threat, as well as a significant flash flooding event that's going to be unfolding, as well as the potential for maybe an early system in the tropics that could start to be something we pay attention to going into the 3rd and 4th week of May. There's already some talk about the potential for a tropical system. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a talk on that later on down the road here, and as well in the streams going down the road. But just be mindful of what you guys hear out there. Not everything you guys hear in the realm of social media is accurate or not. We always give accurate information here. We always goes based off of the forecast, the facts, what is put out in front of us, and that's what we're going to continue to go off of. So what we've got ongoing this morning here, or I should say this afternoon, is 4 areas of severe weather, I should say today. We have a low-end marginal risk up here into the northern high plains, low-end marginal and slight risk back down here into Florida, another area of severe risk today, and then a significant area overnight tonight that's going to develop. And I will mention to you guys now, we are going to be in severe weather coverage modes later on this afternoon, well into the overnight hours. This will probably be one of our longest streams today and tonight that we cover. We haven't done an overnight stream in a while. We haven't had to do an overnight stream in a while, but we're looking at a significant severe weather risk in Texas overnight tonight between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. tomorrow morning that's going to unfold, and then another severe weather risk zone for tomorrow. So we're going to break that down here for you guys. Already ongoing severe weather up here into the northeast this afternoon. We've already got a severe thunderstorm watch out down here for Virginia and North Carolina. The threat for today up here into portions of the northeast is going to be for damaging winds and a couple of tornadoes. You can see we still have this upper level low that's just sitting over Kentucky, Illinois, and Indiana. It's probably moved about 100 miles since it was in place yesterday across western Kentucky. This is continuing to work its way east very slowly, bringing us hours and days of showers and thunderstorms here. Continuing to see the severe weather risk ramp up here from Jacksonville, North Carolina, all the way up through Virginia into western portions of Pennsylvania here. We'll get into those risk zones here in a few minutes. Severe thunderstorm watch is out as well. We've got a marginal and a slight risk down here into Miami, all the way up into Daytona Beach. We'll get to that here in a minute as well. And then our big risk zone here for tonight that's going to set up later on this evening into tonight here is we've got a huge upper level disturbance moving through the Four Corners here, giving us some heavy rainfall, some isolated thunderstorms, a little low in severe weather risk with this morning time or mid-afternoon conduction, but the main event is going to be later on this afternoon. And then a little risk up here into portions of the Dakotas here. So we're going to break all this down for you guys. I do appreciate y'all for watching this video. As always, if you will leave a like and a comment, we will be in live stream coverage mode later on this afternoon. Feel free to come in and watch. We got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to discuss in terms of the next 48 hours on what's going to unfold. So this video will probably be a little bit longer than what is usually expected, but we'll go ahead and dive into this now, guys. As always, thank you for watching this video, and we'll go ahead and get into it. We're going to go ahead and start out with the Storm Prediction Center outlook here for today. As I mentioned here, we've got 4 different risk zones to talk about. A little marginal risk back up here into the Dakotas for some wind and for some hail. A slight risk and a marginal risk back down here into eastern and central portions of Florida from Miami up toward Daytona Beach. That is going to be for a wind and a low hail threat and a conditional tornado risk for any storms that become surface-based and supercellular. We're also going to have a supercell thunderstorm-based risk zone over here again for portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, getting up into Columbus, Cleveland, up towards Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then back down in through West Virginia and into the Carolinas. Low in 2% tornado risk accompanying those today. Wind and hail will be the primary threats, and then we do have a much bigger risk zone to talk about later on for this evening here. I will mention the tornado risk for today, kind of scattered in different regions. Our main risk zone is going to be back over here into New Mexico, western and central Texas, all the way down here to San Antonio and Houston, where we do have a 2% tornado risk and a 5%. I would not be shocked to see a 10% hatched upgrade between now and about 7 p.m. Central Time tonight. If that does happen, strong tornadoes will definitely be on the possibility for tonight. I do think that's still a possibility in general if storms can become surface-based, I wouldn't be shocked to see that upgraded later on in the road or down the road there. But regardless of that, a elevated to isolated tornado risk for today. Small 2% tornado risk back up here into Pennsylvania and Ohio. Small 2% back down here as well into Virginia and North Carolina. And then a small 2% down here. So a lot of areas that we're watching for today for tornado potential. Wind threat is also going to be interesting. 5% up here into the Dakotas. 5% and 15% back down here into the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic. And then a 5% down here as well into portions of the Florida area. That's going to be for winds up to 60 to 75 miles per hour there. And that's within a 15-mile radius of a given point or 25-mile radius of a given location. And then we get to our major risk zone here. 5% chance of seeing damaging winds is 60 to 70 miles per hour in the maroon. 15% chance here in the yellow. And then a small 15% hatched here, meaning winds could exceed 75 miles per hour there for Midland, Odessa, and Fort Stockton, Texas. So be mindful of that later on. The main priority threat for today is going to be hail. We do expect hail to be a big issue there. A 30% and a 15% hatched hail risk here, meaning hail could exceed 3 inches in diameter today. And I do think that definitely will be on the table, especially as we go through the overnight hours tonight. 5% up here for hail to 1 to 2 inches in diameter. 5 and 15% up in the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, and the Mid-Atlantic for hail up to 1 to 2 inches in diameter. And the same applies down here to the east portions of Florida. So big day today. We'll get to the topic and the timing here in just a minute on what's going to happen. I do want to go ahead and dive into our next risks. And I mentioned today and tomorrow are probably going to be our only days that we see severe weather this whole entire week. There could be a low-end day on Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday look really quiet in terms of severe weather. We're going to have a ridge that's basically developing over majority of the United States, keeping things pretty quiet. Now, tomorrow is a very interesting day, and I want to talk about this now. We do have a little marginal risk up here in the Northeast. I mentioned that was going to be a possibility in yesterday's video going into Tuesday's forecast. That's going to be left over for that same low pressure moving through. Wouldn't be surprised to see a low-end wind, hail, and isolated tornado threat up there. That includes Rochester, portions of Birmingham and Scranton and New York there in New York State. Just be mindful of that if you guys are up in those areas. Outside of that, our main risk zone is going to be tomorrow. Now, this is going to pick up starting at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, so we're already going to have some ongoing convection and severe storms out there tonight that lead into tomorrow morning. The main risk zone is going to be back down here in the central and portions of southern Texas. Now, there's a big concerning issue with tomorrow's risk zone here. There is a possibility that we do get a level 3 enhanced risk maybe by tonight or tomorrow, if morning time convection is not that big of an issue. If we wake up tomorrow morning and we've got a squall line or a big line of storms that's moving through Texas and just kind of keeping things from going higher in scenario than what they could be, we'll keep this thing marginal or slight tomorrow. But if the Storm Prediction Center does see fit, a hatched wind threat or a hatched tornado risk could apply to tomorrow's risk zone if, in fact, morning time convection is not full-fledged and, all over the board tomorrow. Meaning if we wake up tomorrow to storms, may keep things quieter. If we don't wake up to as many storms tomorrow, we could see the door open up for some widespread supercells. Those are rotating thunderstorms that lead to stronger tornadoes, larger hail, and damaging winds back down here into Texas. So a lot of things still uncertain with tomorrow's risk. We'll talk more about that in the stream tonight, but nevertheless, a 2% and a 5% tornado risk that goes basically for most of Texas here. 5% tornado risk, once again, just outside of San Antonio there. Fort Worth, Dallas area, you were in that 2% and 5% tornado risk. This goes into Louisiana, western, central, and southern Louisiana. Houston, you're in that. I mean, a lot of areas under the gun for the potential for a couple of tornadoes tomorrow. Damaging wind threat at 15 and 5% there as well for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and hail threat is hatched, meaning we could see hail in that hatched region just outside of San Antonio there through Austin of hail to 2 inches plus in diameter. Outside of that, 1 to 2 inches in diameter for both other risk zones. And then we get into the day 3 forecast, and we do not have any severe weather as of now. I wouldn't be shocked to see a day 3 marginal risk along the seaboard here, along the Gulf Coast here, just in case a couple of storms do in fact become surface-based. But other than that, we should be keeping things very quiet going through Wednesday and through Sunday. So today and tomorrow, really going to be our crazier days. I need you guys to buckle up. I need you guys to be ready to go here. There is one more thing that I want to talk about that is not getting enough talk, and that is going to be the significant flooding risk. The WPC, this is the Weather Prediction Center, they issue flash flooding risk zones. These go 1 to 4 on a severe weather risk zone scale. They go marginal, slight, moderate, and high. There's not a level 3 enhanced risk in here. It just goes marginal to high. And if you guys remember, the last time we saw a significant flooding event a couple months ago was in the Ohio Valley. We actually had a moderate and a high flash flood risk zone, and those are significantly, they do validate very much majority of the time. Up in the Ohio Valley, it just caused substantial flooding up here in our backyard. Not fun when you have to go through those events. WPC does have a marginal and a slight risk for Texas, but the problem is going to be tomorrow. We do have a level 3 out of 4 moderate risk for significant flash flooding here within a 25-mile radius of a given point, and that does go from eastern Texas through southern Arkansas into most of Louisiana and western portions of Arkansas and into western and central portions of Mississippi here. And I do want to mention the WPC has mentioned in their wording a level 4 out of 4 high risk is not off the table for significant and catastrophic and life-threatening flooding, meaning that probably will get put somewhere in portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and in Arkansas. With some people could see up to 12 plus inches of rainfall within a matter of 3 to really 36 hours to 48 hours here. So this is going to be a significant flash flooding event for people down there. So I need you guys to be ready to go. You need to have alerts on your phones for flash flooding. I think a lot of people don't take flash flooding seriously and need to be. Flash flood emergencies, flash flood warnings are the same as a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning. You need to seek higher ground if you get those warnings. I know that's harder to say than being done here if you're in the deep south, but just have backup plans, be ready to go, get sandbags if you're able to, be stocked up, be ready to go. This is going to be a big situation that we're going to be covering probably for a couple days once this event is done and over with. We could definitely see some significant rainfall, and I think it's pretty much up there. I think I'm just waiting for WPC to update this, but definitely looking at a potential for a high risk level 4 out of 4 somewhere in that region there if we need to be, and that was mentioned down here in their outlook. I do want to talk about as well what we're going to be looking at here on radar. We'll go more in depth with our ingredients in the atmosphere when we get on stream this afternoon, but nevertheless, showers and thunderstorms ongoing through majority of the day. Most of these down here in the southeast Texas are not going to be too much of an issue. We're going to be watching that for just some rainfall down there. We have to watch out here around 4 to 5 p.m. for some elevated supercells to start firing off. Most of these will be primarily hail and damaging winds here. If any of these can become surface-based, we could get a couple spin-up tornadoes, but you're like, all right, Matthew, where's the main event at? Where are we hyping all this up? Well, the reason why that is because of this. We get a pretty much a big blow up of supercells right around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. tonight around the Fort Stockton, Odessa area, and these are going to have the potential to produce some significantly large hail. We could see hail anywhere from 3 to 4 plus inches in diameter again. I do think the couple of tornadoes, maybe even a strong tornado, is on the table realm for tonight. Damaging winds will be the biggest threat, but the biggest thing is going to be this is around 11 p.m. to midnight tonight is when initiation could be at its highest, and we're going to see those storms continue to go east. We'll see a full-grown upscale MCS try to develop a couple supercells moving through San Antonio around 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. So this is definitely going to be an overnight event. So everybody in Texas tonight needs to have a way to get alerts on their phones, know where the radio is charged, know where to go in your safe places when you get warnings. Tonight could be a pretty long night for us in terms of severe weather coverage. And then what's going to happen tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier, is the morning time convection. If we have enough morning time convection, this could limit, but some of the models are starting to back off on this just slightly, meaning we could see a higher tornado threat evolve, but mostly what we're looking at tomorrow is going to be kind of a mixy, messy mode of convection. If that does happen, it will mostly lead to a widespread damaging wind threat, some hail, maybe a brief tornado, and then the heavy rain, guys. Look at all of this rain moving here into Louisiana, into portions of southern Arkansas, western Mississippi, East Texas. That front is still off here to the north. Oklahoma will also pick up on some more rainfall potentially as well. But I want you guys to mention, even after those storms move through, we'll have a couple cells that try to fire off late evening for some damaging winds, some large hail, maybe even a couple of brief tornadoes. But look at this, guys. We go into Wednesday morning here, overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. I mean, we are just looking at the potential for some catastrophic flooding in and around the I-10 corridor from Houston all the way up into Louisiana, Lafayette, getting into that New Orleans. This is not a good thing that you guys want to see. You guys have had substantial flash flooding already since last week. This is not something we need to be dealing with in terms of that. I will show you guys those estimated rainfall totals, at least on the HER. We'll go more in depth on our average models or what our models are all saying on the stream later on. But look at this, guys. I mean, anywhere from 3 inches of rainfall, potentially to 8, maybe higher elevations or higher areas could see up to 12 inches of rainfall, really more around the central Louisiana, southwestern portions of Mississippi corridor, up here into Texas and into portions of Oklahoma. Again, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall with some higher amounts, but really looking at more of that high risk potential up here. So once again, just be mindful, guys. Flooding is going to be a big issue here. We're going to have to keep you guys updated on that. I do want to briefly get up here to the mid-Atlantic really quickly and just talk about the radar and what we're going to see with the storms up here. And you can see composite reflectivity is showing so that spinning low pressure system, seeing some storms firing off, some supercells potentially producing a couple of isolated tornadoes, some damaging winds, some large hail. That'll move off to the northeast, and then we'll get one more round of storms tomorrow. And then after that, this low pressure system is officially gone and it's out of here. So that's what we've got for you guys there in the northeast, in the mid-Atlantic, in the Ohio River Valley for today. Now, I do want to mention here just briefly as well, talking about our troughing pattern for the next couple of days. And you can see that omega block pattern in shape here. There it is. This has been a meme that's gone around on the social media sites for quite some time. Y'all all know what this probably looks like. We're not going to talk about that, but anyways, double low pressure systems, one on the left, one on the right here, with an omega block in the middle. That omega block's going to pretty much break down through tomorrow and into Tuesday, or today and into Tuesday here, and then we're going to get that low pressure system move off the coast. I will say, Tuesday does have, like I said, a pretty decent potential of being something big. We have a pretty good amount of southwesterly flow here, a pretty good amount of instability. Shear is going to be there. Kinematics are going to be very favorable for tornado genesis. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens tonight, which will help give us an idea of what's going to happen with tomorrow's setup. So I will mention ridging does start to build. You can see a pretty big ridge that is going to be in place going in through majority of the rest of the week. We'll still have this little pesky low sitting here along the southeast and the Gulf Coast here, but that should keep most of the severe weather out of the United States. And then going into next week, we start to look at the return maybe for some more significant severe weather, maybe up into the plains. A little bit uncertain getting into that. And I do want to mention one thing, all right? I'm going to go ahead and say this now because there probably is going to be some social media post about this. We can, if you guys do not know, I mentioned this yesterday, we are officially about 25 days away from the start of hurricane season. When most times not, we do get an early tropical system to develop somewhere closer to home before June 1st gets here. It's known to happen. It's actually happened pretty much 11 out of the last 12 years that we've seen, hurricane season go early. I will say the GFS model right now is the only global model that is showing this, but it is picking up on the idea of next week there being potentially some type of tropical system developing. I wouldn't go as far as saying that we're going to see a full-blown hurricane. This is one model run out of millions of them, and people on social media are going to grab this and they're just going to say, oh, there's a Cat 3 hurricane headed towards Cuba or towards Florida. That's not what we're looking at. We're not looking at that. This is well over 300 hours out in time range. This is going to change pretty drastically. But the idea that we could be looking at something out of the Caribbean or out of the gyro, the American gyro there out of Cuba, could be something on the table as we go towards the second to third week of May. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of what you guys see on social media. I'm not too concerned about this right now. We're going to watch it. We're going to wait for some of our other models to see if they pick up on the idea of this, but a tropical system early in the season is not something that it's uncommon. So just something to be mindful of that. We'll talk more about this, but no, guys, if you're in Florida, this is not a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane coming into Florida. This is a model run, one model run, and it's the GFS. And the GFS usually likes to over-exaggerate a lot of these late-end model runs when we go toward the end of these frames and these updates. So just something to be mindful of. We're going to watch this. We'll keep you guys updated. I will mention, though, the sea surface temperatures are favorable in these areas for tropical development. So if something does happen, we will have to watch it very, very closely. We'll wait for NHC to also spit out any discussions on that, so we'll keep you guys fully updated on the loop on what's happening with that. But now is the time, if you were on the coast of the Gulf or the East Coast, to start preparing for hurricane season, because early season storms can happen. So just wanted to get you guys ready to go with that. But other than that, guys, we'll see you guys on the live stream this afternoon. Be safe, be weather aware, and have a wonderful Monday.